Commoner's the best format? Let's talk about it. Well, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic Saturday. No, today's Sunday. Hope you're having yourself a fantastic Sunday. You're just relaxing, just a lazy Sunday afternoon for you. We're going to talk today about Commoner, a Flesh and Blood format. We're going to talk both about its use case in growing the Flesh and Blood game, which I'm going to talk about a little bit, but also talk about its impact on some market things. And I'm also going to share just my general love for the format, because I think it's a really, really great thing. My love for Commoner actually stemmed from my love for Magic the Gathering's Pauper format. And I have talked about Commoner before on the channel, but I have a Pauper Elves deck, which is quite possibly the most obnoxious Pauper deck to play against, which is why I like it. And I love that format because it becomes it's a legacy format, which I really like, which all Flesh and Blood formats are legacy, but it becomes this user base of people who just love the format so much that they just dive into it. And the cost basis for building the decks is so minimal. You could build, and this is the same for Commoner, you could build every meta Commoner deck and have 15 decks for the cost of one classic constructed deck. Like, you could have every single hero in a Commoner deck with like $1,000, not even $1,000 investment, but it doesn't cost any, each deck's probably 20 bucks, 10, 20 bucks. It's stupid cheap. It's really easy to get into the format, and it's really fun. One of the things I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna build a whole brick full of Commoner decks, and me and Robbie are gonna sit down and we're gonna roll a die, and the other person has to play that deck. It's gonna be a ton of fun and just a way to enjoy a format and really grow and learn in your game of Flesh and Blood gameplay. Now, I want to talk about the impact on new players and learning growing. I really believe, so we do our Thursday night armor events, and I think the favorite armor event of the month is our Commoner Blitz armor event. We have probably 25 players, which is on the higher end of most weeks. People are just more fun and happy. They enjoy the game more. I really think that this is the quintessential fun format for Flesh and Blood right now. And maybe that changes. Maybe we see some more multiplayer stuff. PVE is going to come out and it's going to take over my attitude over Commoner. But for now, I really think that Commoner is the most fun way to play Flesh and Blood. And it's also the most laid back and relaxed way. You're not kind of playing with a super expensive deck that net deck that should be, winning. You're not frustrated. It's just kind of like a more fun format. So I really think that LGSs and stores should run some of these Commoner Blitz events and maybe build decks. You've got bundles, I'm sure you do, LGSs. You've got bundles of commons sitting in the back of your LGS. Put together some decks, have free events where people can come, take a deck home with them, give it to them. I think it's a really great way to learn the game. And it's also super fun. And that's the key. So I really think that Commoner, and we've seen YouTube channels, a bunch of the Flesh and Blood YouTube channels are really getting in on Commoner and really being excited about it. And I love to see that because that just says that it's fun. If you can make video content about it, that means that it's fun. And so if you are a new player, or if you've been collecting Flesh and Blood, if you've been opening packs and you haven't sat down and play, really want to stress to you, sit down and play a game of Commoner. It doesn't cost you anything. It's a great way to step in and to learn the game. Now, I want to talk about the implications of some of these things, because if you are familiar with Pauper Magic the Gathering, one of the things you'll know is that the decks are rather cheap, but that but that there's a community of people who want to make their cheap deck as expensive as possible. And there are, the difference between a foiled out Pauper deck and a non-foil Pauper deck can be like a non-foil deck can be like $25 and a foiled out version can be like $500. Because those first edition foils from Magic the Gathering, not first edition, sorry, those old foils from like 7th edition, whatever, from Magic the Gathering are really, really expensive. And this is where I think, and now we're going to turn towards like a market conversation, that if Commoner becomes this really special format that's really embraced by the community, which I think it's on its way to doing. Then cold foil commons particular, as well as rainbow foil, some rainbow foil commons, are going to be extremely sought after if you get these kind of pockets of people who are really excited about the format. You know, something like Snapdragon Scalers doesn't need the format to be excited about it. It doesn't need Commoner to take off because Snapdragon Scalers is already a best in slot from a lot of different heroes, even at the classic constructed level. But it is a common, so it is usable in Pauper or in Commoner as well. And I think what that does is it sets up for some of these cold foil commons, and you know I've been pumping cold foil commons on the channel for 10 months. There's no secret here. I love cold foil commons. When they were 25 bucks, 30 bucks, I told you these are $100, $200 cards. Within 2-3 months, they jumped up that way. You know, things even though like the newer cold foils, like Deep Blue, there's conversations about people putting this, if they can't afford like a spring tunic of them, you know, using a Deep Blue. So it's obviously a really good card, a viable card. And in Commoner, it's going to be one of the better cards. So I think like as you start to look at the market, some of the things that that I would do if I were you, one of the things I do already is I have a box full of all my rare and common rainbow foils. And this is something I actually, you know, picked up from Rudy when he was doing his mass box openings. He just kept all the foils, and then later on he's like, oh, they're worth a lot of money, and then he didn't sell them, whatever. My point being that keep some of those, especially like Sink Below, Rainbow Foil, all those cards that are like high tier commons. I think that you're going to see if Commoner does become a main format that people get excited about and the LGS start running local events for. And, you know, like at my LGS for Magic the Gathering, they have a Friday morning Pauper event. And it's super fun to go there Friday morning if you're not working, and you can go and play Pauper. And so if you start seeing these pockets of people, I do think that you are going to see an increase in people who want to foil out their cheap decks. And I think that can have an effect on the market if this format really kind of picks up. So to wrap it all up, at the end of the day, I think that this is one of those moments in Flesh and Blood where we're starting to see some movement come away from the hyper-competitive scene. For the last 6 months, we've been really focused, 7 months, really focused on all these calling events. Everyone's been really focused on building the best classic constructed deck and optimizing their draft pools and whatever. And I really feel like as a community, we've lost sight of like, hey, let's just invite our friends to the LGS. Let's just invite our friends to come play. Let's build some decks for them. Let's give away things. So I want to encourage LGSs, you as a, you know, if you have a play group, build some commoner decks and invite your friends into the LGS, invite your friends into the play group to learn how to play Commoner Blitz, because I really think that the format highlights the fun and the interaction and the speed too of Flesh and Blood. Now, there are some balancing things, and there is no official ban list or restricted list for Commoner. Maybe we see that in the future. There are some heroes that are probably more powerful than others, and this is where I think like a local group can really just kind of write the rules and say, hey, look, we did a Commoner Blitz and Ira never lost. I don't know. This deck never lost. So we're going to say next week, you can't bring that deck. And here's the thing. You only spent $10 on the deck, so it's okay. Go find another deck and build it and have fun. And I think we can really, as a community, learn this format and get back to this kind of just enjoying the beginnings of a fun format in our community. So anyway, that's my pitch. That's my sales pitch for Commoner. I think there is a lot of interaction for the fun side of the game, for the more casual side of the game, and then on the back end of things, if a format does kind of take off and really become successful, keep your eye out for some of those. The rainbow foil commons, even in Unlimited, are extremely rare and hard to pull specific ones. And then cold foil commons, man, they're so good, and somebody who wants to invest heavily in the format or wants to play heavily in the format is going to want to bling out their decks like we've seen historically with Pauper. So anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Let me know what you think about the Commoner format below, and remember to be kind to the people around you.